Hey, good morning and good day to everybody. I'm Steve Farrell. I'm a co-founder and executive director of Humanities Team. I'm coming to you live from our studio here in Boulder, Colorado, and you can see my dear friend and partner and colleague on the screen here, Adam Hall. Adam, thank you for joining me here this morning.
It's great to be here with you, Steve, and everybody, and happy holidays. I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Yes, me too, and happy holidays, everybody. We're definitely in the season here. So I'm going to give Adam a proper introduction here in just one second. But first, this is a live program. So as I mentioned, I'm coming to you live from Boulder, Colorado. Adam is coming to you from the beautiful Santa Barbara. Wow, out there on the coast in God's country. Lucky, lucky Adam. As a live program, we can take questions and comments. So I actually have just behind the camera here, we have a display where we bring back questions and comments, thoughts, suggestions. So anybody that wants to talk to Adam, when in the chat there on social media, be sure earlier in the program to just get your question or comment up. We'll bring it in and I'll bring it to Adam here during the program. So our theme here today is using your genius to change humanity's future. So we're talking about pivoting, shifting into this bright, beautiful new future. And you're only watching this because, of course, you're conscious. And of course, as we all know, this is what we're doing, right? We've been in this shift for some time. We've made good progress, still have a good ways to go. And Adam has just a beautiful way of talking about this journey where we're making sure we're aware of our genius. We're using our genius. So we'll get to that here in one second. Let me give him an introduction. So Adam C. Hall is an author, speaker, conscious entrepreneur, and founder of Earthkeep Alliance and Genius Studio. Adam is a passionate conservationist whose work focuses on helping people and businesses grow sustainably, both for themselves and the planet at large. Adam is a longtime friend of mine and Humanities Team, and I'm thrilled to welcome him today for a discussion on using your genius to change humanity's future. During today's program, you will discover the power and impact you can have in changing humanity's future. Each of us individually, each of you viewers, as well as more opportunities for fueling our 18-year journey to make conscious living pervasive worldwide by 2040. You may know Humanities Team, of course, we're a 501c3 nonprofit. This is part of the download that we got from Spirit, from the One, and as we know, there is no separation. We're all in conversation with the One all day long. So, and this was one of the things that came to Humanities Team, to work with people like Adam, leaders all over the world, to make conscious living pervasive worldwide in 18 years. So, and Adam is boy, he's in that sandbox with us, doing really good work. So, Adam, let's just start with you've created incredible educational programs. You've got this one on our Humanity Stream platform called Discover Your Impact and Genius. You've created other programs. And then your own life is this journey from really tremendous business, commercial success to now being a huge pioneer and leader in this whole evolutionary, conscious evolution journey. So actually, let's start, before we get to your class, let's start with your own journey. I'm sure a lot of people watching maybe have heard you share this story, but it's a one-of-a-kind story, going off into real estate and doing the things you did, and then really leaving that to give your whole self to this work you're doing, and your family, who's of course very close to you.
Well, wonderful, Steve, and be happy to share a little bit of this evolutionary journey that, well, we're all on in our own way. And it wasn't so long ago that I was really living this kind of quintessential life, this American dream. I think you and I share a lot of similarities in terms of our business drive and ambition over the years. And, ultimately, what is it that drove us to that change? And that metanoia, so to speak, that change of mind. And when I was in the investment banking arena, real estate development arena, it was really about, Steve, how could the world serve the betterment of my own self? reflectively looking back, it was, quite narcissistic in its own way. And ultimately, there was a great paradox. And I don't know if this happened for you in Silicon Valley, but there was a great paradox. I had really achieved the pinnacle of my success. I was doing extremely well with the home and the family and the money and the cars and everything. And ultimately, something was dearly missing. And it was about the holiday season. It was about Christmas time back in 2004 when I began to ask that question: why is it that I still feel empty in my life? What is it that's driving me to drink too much tequila at night, kind of thing? And ultimately, my journey was one that said, I'm longing to belong. I want to belong to this human family. I want to belong to life in a new meaning, more deeply way. And that thrust me into the quest to travel the globe and study Eastern and Western modalities and do all the things that I've been up to over the last several years. And that longing to belong is such a key part of what I think is happening to our humanity right now. I think that's what Humanity's Team is all about, and why I love coming and working with all of you, because it's belonging. It's coming home again. So it's great to be here with all of you and belonging to this journey together, because we're in it together. Thank you.
Boy, that's beautiful. Oh, I love that, Adam. I love that. And there's so many different words we could use to describe this journey. And as you mentioned, I also was living the American dream. When I had went through my own awakening, which was very similar. Of and we were doing philanthropic things with these companies I started, but at the end of the day, I'm the CEO, I'm the chairman of the company, and boy, you have a fiduciary responsibility. You got payroll, and you're gonna drive that top line and bottom line. That's you got to do that. That's part of your job. And looking out my window, out at the world, the same thing of, boy, I think I'm missing it here. I think there's a bigger role I'm to play. A more mature role than this. But then, describing it this way of the sense of belonging, of coming back into the one or the whole, or into this collective consciousness. Doesn't matter the words we use, but I'm guessing this, of course, is your conscious viewers that are watching this. So you've probably seen the science and the research, the quotes from the notables, and of course the spiritual wisdom that goes back 2,500 years that shares, we're not just bodies walking around here on the planet. This whole, at the beginning where I was referring to this shift, where we're on this conscious journey, and where in 18 years from now, we're living consciously all over the planet. That's just living in the awareness of ultimate reality, which increasingly just is becoming so doggone clear. I mean, we just about have to put our head in the sand not to really see and understand that we're all emanations of one thing. And it doesn't matter the word we use, but its basis is love, the one thing, and it's universal. And of course, Nassim Harameyn's research, but also Greg Braden's and Bruce Lipton's and so many other scientists are bringing right straight from the lab this research in that says, we are one organism, we're sovereign to one body. Again, different words. But what I loved about what you said, Adam, is you're bringing in, you wanted the sense of belonging. It's not just an intellectual thing of I'm a part of a one. It's a heartfelt thing of I belong to something. I want to feel into what I belong to. The larger me, the real me. And that's beautiful, because that's really at a heart level is where that real treasure is, isn't it? where that belonging thing.
Well, absolutely, Steve. And it's not even just belonging. It's we're all needed. We're all together here. And it's so often that I hear from people in community or people that I'm working with in life that they just don't seem to feel that they're needed or even worthy in their own way. But ultimately, it is that heart place. It is that place of deep inner connection. And, as we've been sharing a bit, it's about the genius within you, the light within you, the love within you, not just the talents and things you do, but it's all that you're being in the world. And as you referenced, we're all connected in this wonderful field. Therefore, we all matter and we all belong. That's
Yes,
for sure.
we do. And we're all being, and then you're bringing it in, we're being called to something. There's this change, and we're being called to contribute to propel this pivot, this shift, this journey in this direction of conscious living. So let's go now to, again, Adam Hall has a transformational education program on the Humanity Stream platform. As a nonprofit, one of our callings was education is always at the center of social change. So create a conscious streaming platform that's one click, that makes it easy. So my mother, who's 89 and isn't technically, just has trouble picking up the phone, she can click and find her way around on Humanity Stream Plus. It's a streaming platform. And to put all these incredible educational programs on it, and Adam Hall has 15 programs on Humanity Stream Plus presently. There's a search feature. This is how I know. You can search Adam Hall and you'll see all of his programs. Let's go to a little clip from one of his programs, Discover Your Impact and Genius. And then Adam and I are going to come back and talk about it. Here we go.
You are here because you are among the few that are ready to be disruptive. And guess what? You will discover, amongst other things, your genius. Now, you may think that you're not a genius. I'm here to say, without a doubt, that you are a genius. Let me repeat that. You are a genius. In other words, you are an extraordinary, intelligent, wise, gifted, and powerful person. Actually, who are you not to be? You are a gift to the world. And I want you to say it out loud with me. Join me. Let's say it together. I am a genius. Let's repeat that. I am a genius. How does that feel? Good, right? Well, what if you could feel that good all of the time? Imagine what you could accomplish, or how peaceful you would feel knowing who you truly are. Imagine the abundance and love that you would attract into your life.
Yes, and so true. A real sense of self-empowerment, because where we're a part of the one, that genius is the scientists say it's at a cellular level. The field is at they like to use the term, the one is, sometimes they'll say the field, and it's at a cellular level. That genius exists in everybody. So such an important point, huh, Adam, as we talk about this conscious journey.
Well, absolutely. And, I think, what I find often when people are exploring their own genius is that sometimes they're little, it's like, it's hard to even fathom the capacity that we have as human beings at times. And I think we've been talking a lot about the science and how we're all connected in the quantum field and the oneness of the field and the particle and the wave and all these things where we where we are asking ourselves, do we really feel that at a visceral level? And what I found in that journey to really discover my own personal genius is that the inquiry into the feeling place, the feeling, the substantial nature of being connected. And for me, Steve, and it was really about connecting with the natural world, Mother Nature, and the shamanic work that I do and traditions that I follow of the indigenous peoples of Peru are really focused on that interconnectivity. And often it's easy to find the confusion is, well, it's in the world, it's out there, but of course we know it's right here. It's right in our own heart. It's right in our own soul. And that was the call, personally, to come back to that place of inner trust, of inner love, of that genius within. And everyone has that. Everyone is offered that. We can choose the separation, or we can choose the love and the genius. It's just a choice. We get to make that choice. And it's just great to be part of Humanity's Stream and Humanity's team in general, just feeling at how we're choosing together, because we're not alone. We belong, as we've been talking about. And that pathway is an opportunity that I think is available to all of us more than ever right now. And you may agree with this, that the circumstances, not just the chaos and the conflict and the fragility of humanity with planet change and all of these things, but the opportunity has perhaps never been greater to really come home, to belong, to be in this place. Well, we never really left in the first place, but we can do that. So it's good to be in this conversation, and thank you, Steve, for having the conversation. I think that's the key, having the conversation.
Oh gosh, well, thank you for being with me and you're devoting your life to this work.
Sorry, Steve, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now? So sorry, this is live, everybody. So we're going to have little glitches here, but hopefully, can you hear me now, Adam, or did I go mute on you? So
I'm having a problem. I couldn't hear you.
Okay, so we'll.
Here you are. You're back. You're back.
There we go. So.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, we'll show you at the end. There's a director that's got a producer that's got a lot of courage, to do a live program like this where you've got me in Boulder and Adam and out in Santa Barbara. And one time we brought in Bruce Lipton from Japan, or no, New Zealand. So it takes a lot of courage to run a program like this when you can have many technical difficulties. But so let me get to. There's several things I want to talk about in what you just shared here, Adam. One, this whole separation thing. We can choose separation where our eyes deceive us, that whole optical delusion, right, that Albert Einstein talked about. Or we can choose the belonging, the real connected way of living. Now, the thing is, in today's world, different than 20 years ago, when we started Humanity's Team, is now the science that's in on this, the research that's in. Adam brought in shamans who this is part of their what they do is this whole the lifting of the veil, where they're very connected to not only this life but the afterlife. The notables, again, going back 2,500 years, that are sharing, starting with Plato and 400 BCE. So we're talking 2,500 years ago, or he's saying, we're all one. So we can choose just the old ultimate reality of that, where the eyes deceive you thing of we're separate, we've got one life and so on. And of course, we have free will. So we all ought to live our life the way we want to live our life. But part of our work in Humanity's Team, Adams, and so many others now, is to look at this, the body of life of the planet now, where it's becoming urgent, right, with smoke and fires and weather patterns and things that are a result of climate change, and so many other things, what's going on in the Ukraine where there's still war and so on. And to just be reflective and to say, are we really embodying and expressing who we really are in the world today. Because this conscious journey that Adam and I are trying to put words around, we really, can't do these things anymore. We can't contribute to the problem. The whole idea as we awaken is what we naturally do is we nurture. Love is our basis. That's of the one for the whole of the universe, and we nurture, in the ways that we're called to, and there are many different ways. But let me come back to the why it's important to talk about our own genius, which you get to in this program. I know part of what you do, Adam, is you talk about how unlocking our own genius is actually a strong companion to the conscious journey. So that's part of what your program gets to, right? Do you want to talk a little bit more about that, of really the importance of unlocking our own genius to help propel this conscious journey for us individually and for us collectively?
Well, it is for us collectively, but ultimately, as you're sharing, it's so deeply personal to come back to that self-love, to come back into that place of our own, just holding and loving ourselves. Some nights I wonder what the heck is going on in this planet, and I just hug myself before I go to bed and say, I love you, and we're here together. And we're here in this movement to unlock, to allow ourselves to shine in our own way. And one of the things that might be helpful for some of you that are in this journey of feeling stuck or feeling locked, and to want to kind of what's going to unlock this place where I feel so tethered and just pulled into that separate place of our ego and our ideas of separation in the world that we live in, and all it's so strong, that pull, is it not? But the question that is worthy of asking, if you're feeling this way, is life motivating you, or are you being inspired by the life you're living? And ultimately, if the motivational factor is playing to, let's just say that's the vast majority of the time, I've got to achieve this, I've got to make this money. It's the survival mind. It's that Darwinian survival mindset. It's that piece that keeps us separate from the whole, because motivation is often fear-based. So we know right away that we're functioning and operating in that place of motivation. And of course, we need to be cognizant of where we are and to be safe and to feel trusted. But the real question comes in is life inspiring me? Am I living a life that's bringing me alive every day to share, to love, to nurture, to care, and to be really honest with myself to say, how can I be the best human possible? Or how can I be the best dad or grandfather or best partner in life? And these are the inspiring movements that I believe, and I've seen it time again in all the research that I've done, is those inspirational movements are the things that come through us like a live wire, just boom of energy. So a great place to just be conscious of how we're living our lives, Stephen, how we're unlocking our genius. Am I locking in my separation by motivation and fear, or am I really feeling inspiring and asking for the inspiration to unlock my genius? And just a little tip to be aware as we go through the day, because we all play with both of those things. It's not one or the other here. It's like we're all just balancing our life and navigating into this place of oneness and into this place of the committed life, the place of greater service, which you and I and many beautiful people are doing, because that's making a difference. And it's happening right now, which is so exciting.
Yes, it is. We are well into this pivot, into this shift, into this conscious journey that again, it'll be 20 years in June that when Humanity's Team was founded, June 2003. And back then, Let me tell you, it was there were a lot more of the cross-eyed thing going on, talking about our oneness, that it is benevolent, not malevolent. There's not a judging thing going on. In fact, there's not even a duality going on. It's a non-dual universe. And again, this is something science is affirming, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with the science now. So we've come a long way. The hardest part of the journey is behind us, but we gotta keep going. And then we get to, again, Adam and I are just searching here for the words to put around this, but you know, we're both sharing. We, in some ways, we won the lottery, because we participated in the American dream. You know, have been on the private jets, have been to the private ski community, the destinations around the world with the people in that elite crowd. We've done that, and that's not where we found the deliciousness of light. It's not where we found the prosperity. The things Adam's talking about here, where of belonging, of connection, of contributing, of love's basis, of compassion, all of these things. This is the conscious journey. So it's like it was an illusion, you know, and we're testimony to the illusion. We said we've been there. It's an illusion because you just keep wanting to go out further. You know, there's no there on this American dream thing. It's just bigger, better, more always. And there's no, you keep going bigger, you keep going to more, you know. And the conscious journey isn't like that at all. I mean, you hold the cup and you drink from the cup. You know, the deliciousness of life is here now, you know. And we understand, true, that there's no such thing as death, right? That's part of the conscious journey. We're a part of the one. The one has an everlasting life. The one has unlimited potential. The one is living into the love of whom they are. So that's why Adam and I are so excited, you know, to be talking about this. Of like we saw the fool's gold, and now we know where the real gold is. And the good news is all 8 billion of us on the planet are faces of that one, and we all can live in this real gold. You know, well, why mess around with fool's gold? You know. So Adam is contributing in a huge way to this major initiative that spans the whole of the earth. Humanities Team, Neil Donald Walsh, the Conversations with God Foundation, but Adam and Michael Bernard Beckwith and Nassim Harriman and Greg Braden and all of these faculty that are part of Humanities Team are in this whole initiative called Changing Humanity's Future through conscious community, through transformational education, through so many things. We just did 2 programs here for the holidays to just kind of update everybody on this initiative called Changing Humanity's Future. And we're going to go now to a 3-minute clip of Adam, who is, again, a part of this initiative, and where he's updating to the global community on some very important dimensions to this initiative. So let's go take a look at the video, and then Adam and I are going to come back and talk about it.
And of course, we hear it all the time. Change is the only constant. And I put a question mark behind that. Is it true that change is the only constant? And as I began my study and research into the quantum, and Neil spoke into the secrets of life, I discovered a few, and I want to just briefly share with them, with each of you today, because we're in this great journey together. And what I discovered is, no, it's not the only constant. Because in the quantum, we hold these proverbial 2 sides of a coin, the non-physical reality and the physical reality. And of course, in the physical reality, change is the only constant. But in the non-physical reality, changelessness, the presence of spirit, to God, to greater being, one tanka, whatever that may be for you, is changelessness. And it invited me, as I brought those 2 seemingly separate realities into one, to one quantum coin. It invited the journey to explore how we might together engage and go through this period of time, which we have now begun in fullest earnest, of great great earth changes. Everything is up for radical change, yet in our inner being, nothing is about to change, because herein lies the presence of the love that we share together and what we can do together. And as the scientists are saying, we've reached this punctuated point in evolution where the rate of change is happening in a very short period of time. And this is true. And it reminded me of a funny moment I had when I was taking my youngest daughter, Hannah, to the amusement park. And we went, and there's a ride called Superman, and it would go like this. And it would shoot you out, and you go up into the sky. And when you hit the pinnacle of that moment, what was there? Well, Superman was there. It was called the Superman ride. And then you'd fall back to earth. Well, the beauty of this time is we are on this ride together of great change. And I really lean into our ancient ones, the shamans, who knew many of these secrets and that lived in harmony with our Pachamama, that invited us to transition and move through these great times of change, because they weren't seeking to change anything. They were seeking only to bend their perception of what changes.
Okay, such an important point there. You got to a lot there, including that beautiful story of with that ride with Hannah to see Superman, whoa, which is where we're in touch with our genius. And we understand, in a sense, we all have those superhuman qualities, but what a great story. And just the importance of that point, that what is changeless, because in the midst of all of the dramatic change, this shift, this pivot, there is the changeless. And that's such an important element in this, isn't it, Adam?
Well, it's critical, and early on in the journey, of course, I had no idea what was changeless. It was the proverbial dark night. Everything was changing. Things were seemingly being lost. There was grief. There was anything but belonging. And ultimately, I think as we take the journeys, which we say is back home again, as we begin the place of that interconnectivity, it is the realization, and our scientists are showing that there is this nature within the things that are always changing, but there is something that's always still. That 0 point quantum, say, for example, or that place within you. It's the soul within. It's the stillness that holds us, that I think, I forget who said it, that is the stillness that is dancing in the night, so to speak. I have a Youngheimer's moment, so I don't remember who that quote was from. But ultimately, the idea that changelessness is, what is it that we seek so much in this journey? And if we think about it, what does it really get down to, Steve? And what I found, what it gets really down to is our place of trust. Can we come to a place of trusting ourselves, which is ultimately loving ourselves, where we feel safe enough and we know that that's our 0 point quantum, where we're connected in the dualistic physical realm, but also in the quantum. And in that place that I shared, in that coin, that quantum coin, the idea is not two separate sides. Of course, it's the oneness with all of it. And so that's the place of changelessness. And that's the place I think many refer to as bliss and ecstatic nature, or samadhi, or whatever it may be. But ultimately, it's just a nice place of peace and presence and genius, for sure.
Yes. Yes, it is. And it's shamans and near-death experiencers and mediums who are regularly in touch with the afterlife, where the veil is fully lifted. And by the way, in Humanities Team, we're doing lots of programs here right now. We all have the gift, actually, of lifting the veil, of being in touch with loved ones who have passed, of all of these incredible, beautiful resources in the afterlife. So there's not any longer, we don't have this big veil that separates us. That's increasingly diminishing. And when we talk about everlasting life, I mean, we're deeply in touch with it. Afterlife, mothers and dads who have passed, grandparents, God herself, Jesus, other resources that are just right here, right now. So, and then where we feel into that in a more dramatic way through a lifting of the veil, we can also, this whole rest and peace thing that's said, at the end of one's life, and Adam was just putting words to that, the shamani, that we can actually live in that now. That's the whole thing. This is this changeless thing, where one of the terms we use is presence, which is that one, that light, that love, that peace that passes understanding, that we can, in our meditation and prayer and in stillness and in nature, we find it, but we can carry it around with us on this conscious journey, this changeless thing, this being state that then informs our doing and informs everything that we do. That is this whole, Bruce Lipton calls it the heaven on earth, that 18 years from now, where we make conscious living pervasive worldwide, that it's, we're living in that space, that changeless thing that is, in a sense, heaven that now we're experiencing on earth. But we don't have to wait 18 years. I mean, this is a story where we're sharing, and now during the holidays, what a beautiful time to talk about this, really, this changeless thing, really carrying it with us. So important, huh, Adam?
Well, it's essential. And I sense, and just looking at the evolution of humanity, just in the millennium here, that the trajectory and the nature of what's happening with Earth changes, both from a physical perspective, say planetary changes, but ultimately that is happening. And what I'm finding, my own research and my own work, is that is happening at of course at the quantum level, and that's within us. So I'm sharing, and I have my newsletter out actually this week, where we're speaking in addressing this great place within ourselves that is in crisis, this great mental crisis. We know we're having a major blowback more than ever post-pandemic going on from a mental perspective, mental health perspective. But ultimately, the invitation is to come back to that center point, that grounded place. And if it's like the fulcrum and the lever, and you're on the balancing, it's pretty tough to be going back and seesawing. I mean, when I was a young kid, I loved to do that, take my children on the seesaw. But as we kind of ground ourselves in earth and in the quantum, the greater field, that's the invitation, is to really return to that place, and to really ask yourselves, am I coming and am I acting and thinking inspirationally and passionately in greater service to the whole, or am I having to be motivated for my own personal survival? And these things are all important. It's not one or the other, but that place, that 0 point quantum, is indicative of the field, is it not? Because all things are moving, but in the field, all things are seeking balance and harmony. And of course, there is that place until the next movement of this divine universe that's playing this wonderful music for us, and hopefully we'll get in step with it a little bit more as we go forward, because we have to. That's the bottom line. We have to do it, and we will.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. There's an urgency. I mentioned, we all notice the smoke, the fires, the severe weather patterns, the melting of Arctic icebergs. We can see it, and it's getting worse. So it's only a question of when are we going to really step up, in a mature way and say, okay, let's make the body of Earth healthy here. How can I contribute to that? And the beautiful thing about it is, it's not like it's a sacrifice, because for me, back in that earlier day in the 90s, when I was doing the American Dream thing, I experienced more what I'll call cognitive dissonance, where I'd enjoy something, I'd go, wow, this is really, I mean, I grew up with a single mom and a 14 square 100-foot home and 6 siblings. So, my mother was a legal secretary. So to have the things happen to me that did happen to me there in the 90s where I was living that American dream thing, there was a lot was just made my eyes bulge of like, wow. But the cognitive dissonance was this other side of me saying, what am I doing here? There's some really important stuff I could be doing that maybe would be more contributing, more fulfilling, et cetera. And that side of me won out, where I then made the decision that I made to, okay, I'm going to now devote myself to the conscious journey and sell these things and leave these groups and with my family, go find this new life that's this conscious life. And then what's different now from that cognitive dissonance thing is a lot of people share it's kind of like being in flow. So, and it's not that all of our problems go away or all of our challenges go away. I'm not saying that, but there's not a cognitive dissonance either, where there's the right and the left and the right and the, instead there's just a one thing, And if you ever have gone diving, drift diving, or snorkeling, where there's a current, they call it drift diving, you're just kind of in a flow. You just have your hands out, and you're just in a flow, and it's just so much easier. It feels like you and the universe are kind of working together, and that I experience, and I wouldn't put words into your mouth, Adam, but I think for a lot of us on the conscious journey, this is kind of how it feels, where we're back belonging. We're a part of the one. We're contributing to the one, merging our smaller self with our larger self, and just finding something that's very fulfilling, the deliciousness of life, true prosperity, all of these things that I did not experience when I was just doing the American dream thing.
Well, I love the flow of it, and of course, as a little bit of a drift diver myself, and out in the waters, and just the effortless nature of it, and the beauty of it, of course, is well, that speaks wonderfully to this connected place, this place of oneness. And one of the things that's so important in my work today, Steve, and essentially really grounded in some indigenous wisdom and teachings, is we must grow corn with the knowledge and the experience and the wisdom we have. So what are we doing with all of this richness of science, of healing, of transformation? And I believe that we are merging into this, this period of great change, changing humanity's future, that's all about transcendence, even of our own transformational nature. And of course, we'll always be transforming. Of course, we'll always be healing. That's why we're here. For God's sake, the Dalai Lama is doing the same darn thing as all of us. But ultimately, it's time to really ask ourselves, what can we really do with the wisdom, with the genius we have? Because every single one of us is exactly where we're supposed to be. All of us has a powerful story, and I actually have a master's class that I'm going to put up on Humanity's Team next year around the power of your story and the ability to transform your story to make it even more effective in the world. And the point I'm sharing is growing corn with the wisdom and genius that's already present for you. And it doesn't mean you've got to be a speaker. It doesn't mean you got to be a writer, although you can do all these things. But you can certainly visit and share your life with others that are in need of love, those that are longing to belong, or just a good laugh is what I find to be often the best cure for many things. But this is a great time of shift. And the shift is a movement, not only in the seeking way, but transcendent of seeking. I believe we're entering a period where we have found and been given, and we get to share that now. And I'm really excited about hearing more from everybody at the Humanities Team about how we're sharing going forward, and how we are constructively now seeing the the great results and the outcomes of all these efforts. It's not just head talk. It's not just, blah, 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 another self-help book. It's really an inspired time. And I'm inspired to be hanging out here with all of you for sure.
All right, me too. Yeah, what a wonderful conversation here. And so let me invite people, so viewers, go to changinghumanity'sfuture.org. Changinghumanity'sfuture.org. This program, we just looked at a video clip of Adam. There were others, really terrific. Neil Donald Walsh, Suzanne Giesman, Jude Curavan, Shamini Jain, myself, others were in these programs. There's actually a video of the program there on the site. You can see it here on the screen, changinghumanity'sfuture.org. Now, and it gets into all of this wisdom that really stands on its own. It's spiritual, it's science, it's notable quotes from back 2,500 years ago. But the wisdom ultimately stands on its own. And we frame it that way on the site and share, even if you don't believe in science or God or notables don't mean anything to you, to just examine the wisdom there in this initiative, the wisdom in terms of how we live our life. And then with all that's going on in the world, ask yourself, is there a better way to live than this? And if there is, of course, go do that, whatever that might be. And if there isn't, then maybe this is something you'd want to, if it resonates, maybe it's something you'd want to join with. You can join the initiative. There's a button where you can do that. There are action steps where it talks about how we can deepen our conscious journey by, for example, going within and following that still small voice that's within each person. It's actually anti-guru because we're not looking out in the world. We're going in because oneness means we don't need to go out anywhere. That wisdom's right here, right now, always. So the very first action step speaks to that. Now, another call to action here, if you resonate with what Adam and I are talking about is, and it's actually how the initiative began, is there are these conversations going on all over the world on kitchens and living rooms and porches and on buses, on airplanes, where people are talking about all of what's happening in the world and saying, God, there's more smoke, there are more fires, there's more extreme weather, climate change is worrisome. I don't like what's happening over there with the Ukraine. The list is endless, as we know. And too often right now, there's no voice for conscious living in that discussion. There's nobody that's saying, hey, wait a minute, yeah, all these things are happening, but there's some really good stuff happening in the world. People are becoming more conscious. And when we become conscious, we can't do any of these things, in terms of not stewarding the planet or supporting a war or things like that. It's just not what you do when you're conscious. So this is a call to action to you. If you resonate with this initiative, I want to invite you, go read about it, and very importantly, be an activist, be a leader, be a spokesperson, be the voice, be the embodiment, be the expression of conscious living. And when any of these discussions start with family over the holidays or friends or coworkers, and there's that hand-wringing conversation of, man, there's all this stuff going on, sure seems like a challenging time. I want to invite you come in, and you be the voice of this journey that we're all on, that's got a beautiful destination, this sustainable and flourishing planet. This new masterclass that Adam's talking about, it contributes to that, where we're storytelling into that. And his other one, where we're in touch with our genius, it contributes to that. So I want to invite you to contribute to that. This is the only way that we create this whole conscious planet, is we have a level playing field. We all have to be a voice, an embodiment, an expression of conscious living. We have to do it together, because a few people can't do this. It's a job for all of us, and we're all a part of the one, all 8 billion faces here on the planet. Let me go to a question for you, Adam, and thank you, viewers, for bringing questions in. The first one is from Gretchen, who says, I love Adam's comment about wanting to belong. What can I do so I feel a member in humanity's team? I don't have a lot of time, but I do want to belong.
Well, I'm hearing a couple things there, and thank you for the question, Gretchen. And of course, Steve's invitation to come home to Humanities Team and participate and share and just be present is there for you, most certainly. And I think ultimately it's really that step of in commitment to the belonging piece. And I'm a big subscriber to this spiritual idea that giving is receiving. And what I found is that when I begin to dribble out love crumbs from my separate self, because I was longing to belong, that those crumbs were really, really delicious food, so to speak, for others that wanted to receive my love, and they wanted to give theirs. So just an act of kindness. I know that seems so obvious, but it's just a simple connection point, because there's something that is about that giving of those little love crumbs to belong. And what it is that it goes, it goes like a benevolent virus. It just takes off. And then all of a sudden, as our dear friend Dr. Bruce Lipton often speaks of, it activates this dormant piece of ourselves, these dormant genes within ourselves, and is passion in the epigenetic world. And this is what it is, Gretchen. And this is it, just a bit of giving, because ultimately, then that piece will come right back here, and we know we belong here together.
Yeah. Yes, we do. Yeah, and this is also, I was trying to draw that contrast, the cognitive dissonance world, American dream, kind of top line, bottom line, the little self, and then this other world, conscious living, where we're now really operating as our bigger self, where we're in flow and things, and this is something, that I think we naturally do, where we just want to give, not that we can give to everything, but each individual, each family feels into its own station in life, the things that it's going to give to, what it's incredibly passionate about. So, for example, Adam and those of us in Humanities Team, it's this, it's this first domino, sometimes we'll call it, because we're going all the way back to the root problem here in the world that causes us not to steward the planet and to go to war and to be in polarity and things. And that's a sense of separation thing. Again, that Einstein 75 years ago said, my God, there's this optical delusion. It's a disaster, where we only want to do those things for those people closest to us. Our mission must be to end this delusion, and here we are 75 years later, and the science is all in now.
Yeah, Steve, before we go to another question, I want to just add a little comment to the invitation to come home to belonging and to come home to Humanities Team, the family that we have here. It's not don't fall into the trap of saying, I'm not spiritual, I'm not conscious enough, I've got to be something. That is, of course, the ultimate trap, because it doesn't matter who you are here. It doesn't matter if you're an atheist or agnostic. It's not the point that this platform, this place of community, this place of connection is all about. It's about celebrating. It's about expansion. It's about coming together so we belong, to explore, to share our collective genius. So just a note, it's easy to get trapped in saying, I'm not this, or I'm not that, or it doesn't feel right. That doesn't apply here, folks. It's not part of what we're doing. So come on and join us.
Yes. And that's why that first video clip that we showed of you, Adam, is so important, because there are many people that aren't really standing fully in their empowerment. Where there's this sense of, well, I know there are others out there that have that and give that way and have these gifts, and no, that is crazy. I mean, you're watching this because you were called to this program. And one of the fundamental dimensions of this is exactly what Adam was talking about. Is, my God, there's incredible genius in each person. There's a gift. You're a part of the one, the everlasting, eternal one with unlimited capacities, and where we just like Thanksgiving, bring our gifts out every day, whatever those might be, then we do this thing. And so now, let me get to a few more questions here. There's one for me and one for you. Harry is saying, well, I would like to know, is there a way I can lead a humanities team group in my area, Nashville, or is somebody already doing that here? So Harry, write to us at support@humanitiesteam with a y.org, support@humanitiesteam.org. There are many things that Humanities Team actually has more volunteers than it does paid staff. We are in 65 countries, and there's not any compensation at all for these volunteers. And there are many other roles where we have volunteers. So if you're drawn to the work that we're doing, you resonate with us, reach out to us. Tell us what kinds of things you love to do and you do well. And we'd love to work with you, you and others like you. And then James has this question. James says, do you have tips on how to start this conversation with other people around us about this whole conscious living conversation? Adam, how would you respond to that? Tips on how to start this conscious living conversation?
Well, I love that question, James, and curiosity is the key. And what I'm finding is, it's interesting because it's also cultural related and who you're speaking to, because that's where you want to meet people. But the easiest place to meet people that I have found is, for me personally, I speak into the greater expansion of nature and the connection with just the environment that we live within, because everybody's in the environment. So, it could be as simple as sharing a moment you have with the natural world. And people often can be drawn right into going, oh, yeah, I had this experience with this blue jay today. So I find the most simple things, they may sound silly, but they're grounded in oneness, because we all are one in nature. We're all in this incredible garden. We're all part of this connectivity to the Pachamama. So that's just one idea. Of course, there are many, but that's the one that I often go to, because it brings my life most alive, and it's in many ways, and it's a great place to share with others.
Yes, it is. Beautiful example in nature. There's so many beautiful examples like that, where whether it's a blue jay or whatever the nature story might be, a dog that's protecting, a cat that is this beautiful energy in the home, or a bird, or whatever it might be. So, Tom has his hand up. We're going to bring him in a minute, but let me add one thing here to this, where how can we start the conversation? So James and my family, I have 4 brothers. We are at the beginning of this year, 2022. I was out on a retreat with them. So 5 brothers together, and this conversation that I talked about ensued. So we're on the back porch, and all the brothers, and one of them started talking about, wow, they all have kids, and they said, geez, this is going on, and that is going on, and this is happening, and that is happening, and I wonder, I'm a little concerned that the world that I'm leaving to my kids isn't going to be what I want.
Yeah.
So I came in. It's not a hard thing to do. I said, hey, let me. I don't know how much you know about Humanities Team and the work we're doing, but the whole focus is living consciously, and when we live consciously, and then just like Adam and I are now, putting words around that, your own words. There are many different words we can put around this, where we're in this place of connection and flow and oneness and interdependence and things. And then one of my brothers, who is an investment banker in New York, said, wow, he says, do you guys bring facilitators and coaches out, like if our management team wanted to do a little one-day session, do you offer services like that? It'd be an interesting thing we'd probably pay, several $1,000s to have somebody come out. So what a great conversation that started. So I want to just invite you, and here again, don't feel like you don't have the answers and you're not the one and somebody else's voice needs to come in and wish you Adam was here. Don't do that to yourself. You're there because you're the one. You're the voice that's supposed to be in that conversation. And that's the whole point. And this is how we can really get this snowball rolling downhill, is we all become that voice, that leader, that activist in these conversations, and just put our own words around what it is. People will be drawn to it, I promise you. So now there's Tom is a Humanity Stream member. He's in the green room with us. He has his hand up. We're going to bring him on camera. We're going over a little bit. Hey, Tom, and thank you for joining us. And we're already going over a little, but I didn't want to leave you there. So do you have a question for Adam?
Yes, thank you. I'm really liking your discussion in terms of how we are one and at the same time we're a genius. And the way I conceptualize that, which would be useful to get some feedback on, would be that we're all inherently one and a genius at the same time from the spiritual level. And what Spirit gave us, that's always here and will eternally be here, is that we're powerful in terms of being able to be conscious and take actions on that consciousness. And we each do it in unique ways that makes evolution work. And when it's worthwhile to evolution, it does work, or otherwise it's rejected. And if we consciously use our powers to use our uniqueness and worth to contribute to others, to make them more worthwhile and the world more worthwhile, then we're doing it out of love. And those four dynamics seem to be our inherent genius in all of us, that's in that quiet stillness of the oneness of the spiritual world. But what happens is when we get into the material world, we're born into the material world, our brain is starting to make sense of what the world is, and it doesn't see the spiritual world, it sees the reality of our material existence, which means that we're in polarities and separate and struggling with trying to develop relationships and belonging and whatever at a later stage, to where we then get addicted in a sense to our belief systems from our brain, when our spiritual genius part we don't recognize is there. And so we can't tap into to be the true co-creators we're designed to be here, that are using our greatest powers with the whole universe, not just with our material existence, to be able to create and go forward. And so I see that as just a liberating piece of how to expand our consciousness in the future, is tapping into everyone's inherent genius, their inherent relationship with everything, with the oneness of all, which then can leap us into, from our materialistic upbringing, into who we really are, and bring the material world, make sense of it from this greater perspective.
Yeah, beautiful, Tom. Nicely said. And Adam, do you have something you want to share back? I think that was a beautiful expression, just of what Adam and I are putting words around, in terms of how we and the one and the contemporary world, how we're unfolding this initiative, all playing our role, interconnected, interdependent, tapping that divine genius. So that was a nice way of sharing, Tom.
Yeah, beautiful way of sharing, Tom, and thank you for that. That's a great encapsulation of the journey, kind of in general. And I just add a couple little thoughts on it. And from a shamanic perspective, we're in the world. Of course, we've heard it, but we're not from the world. But ultimately, the idea is that we're holding the balance between our physical and non-physical nature. And those seemingly two realities, there's so much conversation about the illusion and that which is not illusion. That's not the point here. The point is this divine expression of this human body, this incredible machine. This is so stunning that it's here to be embodied with the totality, of course. And I think we're all saying the same thing, but ultimately our joy and our love and our presence comes through the expression. And of course, this is growing corn, with this divinity, this elegant nature of ourselves, but also the elegant nature and the vastness of the quantum in the field that is so full of course, everything, and it's present for us here and now. And yes, to coming together and working to do the things that we're doing together. So thank you, Tom, for bringing that forth and helping us to all grow corn with it, both spiritual and non-spiritual natures. This makes it fun.
Beautiful, nice. So very nice. What a great way to end today's program. Tom, thank you for coming in. Very nice to be with you here, brother. And
thank you.
Adam, thank you for being my special guest here today. What a terrific program this has been. We're coming into the holiday season. There's some real seed, talking corn, so there's some real seed here that, maybe for fertile ground here during the holidays. So very exciting. Yeah, thank you very much. And Adam Hall, what a real evolutionary pioneer, contributing to the greater good, changing humanity's future. He's got these beautiful programs, 15 of them on the Humanities Stream Plus platform. Again, there's a search feature. Go to humanitiesteam.org. You can scroll down and then you just click right into Humanities Stream Plus. And then there's when you can go down into the library, that's where the search feature is, and you can see the programs that Adam has on the platform and other really amazing programs, Neil Donald Walsh and Michael Bernard Beckwith and Bruce Lipton and Nassim Harriman and Greg Braden. I have my own conscious leadership program on there. There are hundreds of programs, and it's about the price of one masterclass for a full year, for 12 months of viewing these hundreds of programs.
That's
and
right.
being here, Tom's part of Humanity Stream Plus. They're in the green room, so they can raise their hand and say, I think I'd like to come on and talk to this week's guest, Adam Hall or Neil, or different guests that we have on the program. We're doing live programs every week. So, okay, everybody. Well, what a great program it's been. Really love my time with you, Adam. We're going to pull the camera back so you can see this guy that's got the courage here over there. That's me on the couch, Steve Farrell, and Jim Gray, who's the director, producer, has the courage to do a live program like this when audio and the internet and Vimeo OTT are up and down. So thank you, Jim. Really appreciate it. Last week, poor Jim, my dog wandered down here and decided she was going to run her. She kept barking and wouldn't stop. And Jim's trying to hold down the technology for it, and he's chasing my dog around. So he didn't know what he was getting into taking this job. I also want to thank Andy Guski, Dee Meyer, Nanette Kennedy, Garth Catterall, all of my partners and colleagues that make this program possible. They're out on social media. They help develop the promotion for the program. So thank you to my partners and all of the friends that are supporting Adam Hall and Earthkeepers. So a big shout out to you all. Okay, everybody, we'll be back with you next week. Got an exciting program. Jacqueline Way and Dr. Roshanak are going to be with me next week. Two powerful women. They run the clubhouse for Humanities Team. They, together with Neil Donald Walsh, are every Wednesday afternoon on Clubhouse. And incredibly intelligent, gifted, devoted women. So join us next week, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern, when we launch. And enjoy the rest of your week. And Adam will be in close touch here, partner. Thank you for being with me. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. Love and peace and blessings.